Hey folks, after having used the Ortlieb quick rack for over a year now, I want to give you an update and tell you about how it holds up, talk about the mudguard and how to attach a light, and get into some compatibility issues. If you are interested in the specifications of the quick rack, be sure to watch my first video I made about it. It is linked in the description down below. As always, this video isn't sponsored in any way and these are my honest opinions. So let's not waste any more time and let's get started. I use the quick rack regularly and put it on and take it off at least once every 2 weeks. I have noticed that the clamping mechanism got a bit easier to use but not worn out. It is still holding strong and works reliably. The paint came off where the bags are mounted, even though I used the protective inserts on my bags, which is a bit sad, and also the paint on my frame where the adapters are mounted came off. I hope to get many more years out of this rack because compared to others it is quite expensive. At the moment it costs €100 and the light version 95. What I didn't mention in my first video was which bikes the rack can be mounted to depending on their frame width. The frame varies depending on the hub width. There is the 135mm for quick release, then there is the 142, 148, 157 and the 197mm for if you have a through axle. Then there is no standard as to how thick the dropout should be on frames, which means almost all frames have a different width between the outer side of the dropouts. The quick rack can be widened up to a maximum width of 185mm and shouldn't be compressed to less than 145. In my opinion, it depends on how much you would use the mechanism that makes this rack so unique in its price category. The ability to mount and remove it in seconds. I am really happy with it because I use it very often, but if you are simply looking for any rack, I would not recommend it because it costs a lot more than a normal one which does the same job, carrying things. And you can attach a spring flap to most, which is not possible on the quick rack. I also bought the Ortlieb mudguard in size 50mm to fit my 45mm tires. There are 3 sizes available. The smallest, suitable for road bikes, being 32mm wide and fitting 26 to 28 inch tires up to a tire width of 28mm. Then there is the medium sized version I bought, suitable for gravel and trekking bikes, being 50mm wide and fitting 26 to 28 inch tires up to a width of 45mm, and the largest version is suitable for mountain bikes, being 72mm wide and fitting 26 to 29 inch tires, and the 29 inch tires up to a width of 2.3 inches. The mudguard attaches to the quick rack via rubber bands, which means you can only use it with the rack. There are 2 plastic pieces that you need to slide over the mudguard and adjust so that they line up with the tubes of the rack. Then you can wrap the rubber bands around it and it holds on tightly. Ortlieb recommends to always have a 20mm gap between the tire and the mudguard. The mudguard isn't very big and therefore won't protect you as well as a regular sized mudguard. The only reason I bought it is because I needed a shorter mudguard because I wanted to use my bob trailer, which would have interfered with my SKS Speed Rocker mudguards. It is quickly put onto the rack and easy to remove, but I would rather recommend other ones such as the SKS Speed Rocker mudguards because they offer a better protection, can be mounted and taken off just as easily, and can even be used without the rack. If you enjoy this video, it would mean a lot to me if you'd give it a thumbs up, and if you don't want to miss any further videos, you are most welcome to subscribe. I have been asked whether it can be easily stolen because it can be taken off so quickly, and yes, of course that is the case, but to prevent that, I simply lock it to my bike. Here you see how you can use the rack on bikes which don't have any eyelets by using the seat stay adapter. The set costs an extra €16 and is a much better solution than having a rack which is only attached to your seat post. Note that one can't use these on a carbon frame. If you want a light on your quick rack, you can mount it with the light adapter included in the set, and to still be able to remove the rack, you can make a connection which you will have to disconnect when taking it off. Sadly, the quick rack does not have holes to lace the light cable through. There are some, but they seem too small. In case you want to mount a light to your seat post like I did, there is a little gap in between the quick release mechanism which one can thread it through without it getting damaged when installing the rack. I thought the rack would also be great to use on multiple bikes simultaneously, thus saving money on buying multiple racks. But I was wrong. The chance of the rack fitting multiple bikes at once is very low. That is because bikes vary in many ways. The width between the dropouts and length of the chainstays can vary, and also the circumference of the seat post. I wanted to mount the rack on my BMC Alpen Challenge, but because it has a wider seat post, being 31.8mm wide and not 27.2 as my gravel bike, I would always need to adjust the quick release mechanism. Although it is possible to install the quick rack to many different types of frames, it isn't quick to change in between them. I have asked Ortlieb whether one can fit the quick rack to an oval-shaped seat post, and interestingly, I was told that it is not designed to be mounted to the seat post at all, and instead to the seat tube right above the top tube. That is just stupid in my opinion, because the seat tube on most bikes doesn't stick out enough, and therefore it has to be attached to the seat post. I was also told that as long as it is attached tightly, even on an oval-shaped seat post, it should be fine, but one should be careful because the seat post might drop or rotate over time, and one shouldn't load it up to its maximum weight. I have ridden it with lots of weight attached to my seat post and it hasn't been a problem, but that might be because there are still lots of seat posts in my seat tube to hold it. So be careful. If you have your seat post out to its maximum, you shouldn't mount the rack and instead get a longer one. I just quickly want to mention that this rack is not designed to carry children. The quick rack, when mounted with the adapter which you screw into your frame, is not compatible with any trailers that are attached to your rear axle. That is because the adapters of the rack take up the space that the adapters of the trailer would need to be mounted. The only option to mount a trailer would be by mounting the quick rack with the seat stay adapters and setting the rack higher up, thus making room for any adapters for the trailer. I don't know of any similar racks, certainly not in that price category. The only brand I know is Tilefin, and their rear racks are incredible, especially incredible expensive. No, jokes aside, of course they are great as well, and probably even better in some ways, but for its price, I'd say the Ortlieb is the best. Overall, the quick rack is very versatile and it is great for everyone who wants to be able to enjoy their bikes without a rack, but also want the option to quickly attach one if needed. It is rather expensive and there are some compatibility issues which I hope I addressed in this video, but you get what you were promised, and if that is what you're looking for, it is in my opinion a great deal. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you are interested in bicycle gear and bikes in general, consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching, enjoy your day with a nice ride, and see you soon. Bye!